Hey guys, welcome back to Digi Profits. I'm Mark, and in this video, we're going to have a look at gardening and how to get the most out of your gardeners if you are in DeFi kingdoms. Okay, so this is for those of you like me that happen to be playing DeFi kingdoms, and we'll have a quick look at price action as well because obviously Bitcoin's had a bit of a recent dump. Could go further, maybe not. And what does that mean for the price of Joule and stuff in the short term as well? We can have a quick look at that as well. But firstly, I just want to have a look over at the gardeners because there's two things going on. One is there's stuff to do with the price of gardeners and actually buying them, and two, what to do with them when you have them. I have got gardeners doing quests constantly, getting me a good amount of Joule each time because I have a reasonable amount of my LP. They get anywhere at the moment from almost 7 to just over 8 Joule per quest. It'd be different depending on how much LP you've got, but I've also got more gardeners than I need because I'm waiting for gardening quests to come out over on Crystal Vale. And so what do you do with those excess gardeners? Well, one thing you can do is just, if you've got more gardeners than you need, is to just click on Start Quest and put them in a garden that you're not actually using. So let's say here, I'm not in this garden, Jewel Phantom, and I might look at, say, this gardener here. This gardener here is only a 16.2. When I say only, I mean 16.2 is great, but most of my gardeners are at 17 or 18. And the wisdom and vitality is pretty good though at 34. Anything 34 and up is pretty good, and I've got, stat bonuses and so forth. So I'm trying to get that to a 17 though before I start using it in my gardens, or hopefully before it ends up over on Crystal Vale doing gardening for me. So I'll just select this hero, and at the very worst he'll gain XP, and when I'm lucky at times this guy is going to get extra gardening skill and eventually end up at that 17 range that I would like, because then I end up with more Joule gardened. I think of gardeners as almost like you're paying a fixed price for a higher APR. So you're paying a fixed price for a higher APR, and the more that the emissions drop, the more percentage of the overall total ends up coming from your gardeners. So for the long term, as a long-term investment, I think having decent gardeners is really good. I think more people are going to notice that, and that's why I've been snapping up more and more gardeners at times when good ones come up. If I can get a gardener for under 100 Joule that is a level 17 or 18, and the wisdom plus vitality, which goes towards the calculation of how much Joule you get per gardening quest. So if they're 17 or 18 and the wisdom plus vitality is 35 or over, and it's 99 or less, like it's 100 or less Joule, then I'll usually just snap it up even if I don't need it yet, because I believe that there will be a supply squeeze on leveled up gardeners when quests come to Crystal Vale, and people will want to garden inside their liquidity pools, and there just won't be enough leveled up gardeners. So I think those prices will go up, and even now you don't get too many at that sort of pricing, so I just grab them if I can. That's just how I'm doing it. Not saying how you should do it, and that's just that level. I mean, there's different price points. You might want to grab a couple of gardeners at level 14 or 13. There was a time when I was getting them more around those sort of levels, but then I decided, no, I'll sell some of those and buy the higher leveled ones, and that's what I've done. So anyway, I'll go over and just have a look over at the tavern, and we'll see what I mean. Okay, so if I go to the tavern and we look at the agent, and I go to buy heroes, and I'll just have to move this over a little bit, and let's say I look at let's say I'm looking for attributes, gardening, stats. Let's say I want them to be at least a 17, and I click apply. Already the price floor is, there's only one gardener that's a level 17. That's under 100 joule. And if I flip it, I'll notice that the wisdom and the vitality, oh, not bad. That is 33. Not quite what I'm looking for, but how close is it to leveling then? If it's close to leveling, still quite a way off leveling because it's a level 7. It's quite a way off. So it would take a while to level and get that little bit extra to push it over. But I would say that's not bad value, this one. I'll consider buying it after this call. I don't know if I will, though, because I've just bought a couple of gardeners today already, and a miner. So, you know, but the ones like this, they do pop up, but they don't pop up for that long. And then next thing you know, there's none in that price range again. And then sometimes I see one and I go, yeah, I'll grab it. But, okay, so why do I think there might be a supply squeeze? Well, let's shift over to Crystal Vale. So what I do is we go to the docks, Dockmaster, travel to Crystal Vale, and click switch network. I could have just done it straight in MetaMask as my other option. Okay, so Crystal Vale. See, I've got 0 crystal because it's all in LPs and I have not claimed, and the rest of my crystal is in, where is it? It's in the jeweler. So I do have crystal in the jeweler as well. So basically, though, I am going to go over to the tavern, and I'm not going to buy any heroes, but I'm just going to show you how few heroes there are, if I go to the agent there, that are leveled up for people that, you know, you've got a bit of money in the gardens and you want to, in the LP, and you want to start gardening when gardening becomes available. Well, what's available? So stats. If I was to look for, all right, I need a gardener that's pretty strong. I want a 17 gardener. Click apply. There's none there. What about a 15? There's 6 there. And the pricing for a 15 gardener is quite high when you consider that crystal is not 1-to-1 with joule yet. So that's more like 90 joule. You can see how there could easily be a supply squeeze when people need more gardeners now. They need them over here and they need them over there. The leveled up gardeners may end up pushing up in price. They might end up doubling. They might end up being like selling quite easily for 200 joule or 200 crystal, or more. And even more if they're rare and have other qualities as well. So that was my thinking on that. Like, you know, if I end up with too many gardeners, I can sell a few. If I end up with exactly what I need, then great, I'll just use them all on my LPs and I don't need to sell them. At least I've got leveled up gardeners, so I've paid a good premium in order to have a higher APR, basically. Okay, so that's my thinking anyway on the gardeners. Now, let's go over and have a look at the price of joule at the moment. And I just got to go to, in fact, I want to have a look at Bitcoin first, sorry. Okay, so looking over at Bitcoin, we can see we've just broken below 34K, sorry. And looking over at the longer logarithmic regression graph that I've got going on here, you can see that we're approaching the white line here, which indicates that we are, I mean, we already knew we were in a bit of a bear market, but it indicates that we're pretty much right slap bang in the middle of a deeper bear market like this, the end of a market cycle, so to speak. But as you can see, that doesn't mean that you're not pretty close to the bottom. Like most of the time, by the time you can admit you're in a bear market, you're actually already most of the way through it. In terms of price action, because even this bear market, I mean, look at this. This bear market went on for ages, but the price went up from $200 up to $1,000 at 5x'd before it went into a parabolic rally. So bear market isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's accumulation, but it means that you may not get those extravagant rises in Bitcoin during that time. It may still happen with altcoins at times, but you know, we may go down to the gray line here as we've done a couple of times in the past and hit 29K. We may not. There could be some black swan event that triggers it to go all the way down to 23K. I still don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. like, I can't say that that won't happen. I'd say it'd be more likely that we hold support around 30k. That'd be more likely, but like I say, you just never know, especially with liquidated longs, and with there could be a lot of liquidations that I'm not aware of across a wide variety of altcoins and so forth that could lead to people having to sell their Bitcoin to cover their liquidations, and I don't know. So there could be a lot of cascading effects that could take it down lower, pardon me, unexpectedly. But at the moment, I see right now is prime accumulation time. Generally, when you hit that white line, it's accumulation time. So I'm generally, for the most part, just dollar cost averaging my way into various positions across various asset types. I'm still around about 50% in stable coins. So I'm looking for bigger dips. Otherwise, I just edge my way in with a little bit here, a little bit there, doing things like buying another, like on DeFi Kingdoms, buying another hero, for instance. It's kind of like an edging my way in a little bit, but because that's kind of like staked jewel in a way when you buy a hero, right? It's sort of like that. For the most part, it's stable coins at the moment, waiting to see when we can see signs of a bounce. Just keeping it on the safe side, but accumulating a little bit more on the dip to keep lowering my average buy-in positions at various things, and focusing heavily on my online business and stuff where I actually earn US dollars, because now is the time to be earning US dollars, doing things like affiliate marketing, drop shipping, selling information products. That's if you're an online marketer, and I can talk about that more in other videos. Now's the time for that while dollar strength is high. But bear market is what makes you rich when you end up back in the bull market at another phase. So that's where you want to accumulate your positions now for a time period where we go on a roller coaster ride upwards, and it's nice to know that you managed to buy some around these around the lower prices. So over at Jewel, what does this mean? Well, it means that the moment the dip took place, we didn't manage to break through our support line on the our resistance with the downtrend and with this Fibonacci level here. So now looking at the retracement, I with fib levels within the fib levels, like our fib level was here and here. Sorry, we did go over it, but then we came back through it. So these were our couple of fib levels, so $2.04 and $1.26. But now just doing a retracement from the bottom to top, our fib levels within the fib levels were about here. As you see, we held support there, and then here we've been holding pretty well, considering Bitcoin's been dropping a lot into the below 34k now, and held pretty well. But if Bitcoin continues going down, then you can expect to see a retest of the $1.26 level down to $1.23 that we wicked down to during that time. So $1.26 could be a double bottom, could totally be a double bottom, and we don't have to do too much to get past the trend line now, because that's from there. So you never go all in though, because you never know. We could be down to the psychological level of $1. It's very that it's not a fib line, but I do believe there's a psychological factor in play there. A lot of people say the moment we go to $1 or below $1, I'm buying. So there's that, and then below that there's about 78 cents, next fib level down, 78 cents. It's very hard to hit those levels though, very hard, because it only takes a relatively small amount of buying now by anyone that's semi-wealthy in order to bump the price back up. Doesn't take a lot. I mean, I saw the price dip at one point here, dropped down, someone put $10,000 in, and it popped right back up very, very quickly. Like it's and that's not a lot of money in the world of crypto. So the moment the bulls have any sniff that this is around about the bottom, they'll be buying, and then you'll start to see a big shift, and then you'll see retail and other people pushing it back up again. So anyway though, it is the wider markets at play. Can we go all the way down? Could we drop to 20 cents? Can those things happen? Yes, they can happen. They just are very, very difficult. They get more and more difficult the further we go down now, with the price of Joule, because it becomes easier and easier now to get a lot of Joule at those prices and force the price up. It's harder to force the price up from $5 to $10. It's a lot easier to force it from 1 to 2, for instance, or from 50 cents to $1. You know, it doesn't take much at all. So bear that in mind as well. So that's why I'm accumulating. I bought a little bit here, just a tiny amount, but I did buy a little bit here just in case we go back up from here. But I'm eyeing up that the double bottom, and then obviously I'll look and see if we go further down at $1 and then at 78 cents, just dollar cost averaging my way in. And during a bearish market, you know, it's all about edging your way in, and then you know, looking forward to the longer term where a lot of other factors play out. Okay, so anyway, that's it for this particular video. Covered a bit about gardening today, a little bit about the price action and stuff like that. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them as well. And like and subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.